Yes, yes, yes. What's happening? Okay, cool. So, I'm gonna go through my watch list and just probably the wild cards as well. So, it is Tuesday now, 8:47. We basically have had some really good momentum in the market. Euro GBP has been playing out really well. Um, Took three trades on it, which is incredible. Nice scale opportunity. Exactly what we were talking about on the weekend. So, I'm going to jump straight into it. So, and with the DXY, so weekly, we are still basically in this sort of channel. I mean, we are moving downwards with good sell momentum. However, once again, it's not convincing price action for me. So, I'm still going to stay, um, you know, with the long bias at the moment until I see some dramatic change. Break below these lows, continuation, and so forth. But at this moment in time, we are in this sort of value area here, which I think if we do pull back, this could be one area that we could see this potentially just pull back up. However, we can breach, push low, get to here, then push away, or perhaps maybe even further and meet with this. So there is a few little sections that I am eyeing up for the push back up. However, at this moment in time, I think I'm going to be extra smart, extra cool, and yeah, so that's basically DXY, nothing of major interest. I am seeing this as a middle section, so how this middle section forms, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, yeah, I think the DXY is giving us some sell momentum, so we are seeing that across a lot of US dollar pairs. But at the moment, like I said, it's too premature for me to actually get involved in. Wicked. So Euro GBP. So Euro GBP is a pair that I didn't actually take a trade on. I did monitor it live markets. Took the trades as if I would have. I just didn't execute any trades. Only for the pure reason that I'm just kind of currently going through a psychology course. So most of my focus is on the psychology course at the moment, but I am still monitoring the charts and still taking trades. Just not on the live markets, just because most of my focus is going against something else. So I don't want to divert my attention to something else while I'm focusing on something. So weekly, we had this like massive impulsive up. We were looking at the push down and a larger flag to basically continue as continuation to the downside. Um, what I saw here was price push down. As we started to trickle down, I saw this as this was a point of rejection. There was a flag in there, which I can't remember if I capitalized on or not. We pushed up impulsively, which is no surprise. But as we were coming to this value area over here, um, so when we came to this value area over here, this is where I started to realize, okay, this is the high value override. So as you can see on the Sunday market breakdown, this is where we were looking for entries. On the 4 hour, we could see that we reached it and we had the push down. So this is where we ended on the week. Um, and we had the flag. So I was essentially looking at it like this. Fortunately, I was smart, as I mentioned in the SMB as well, that if I was gonna take an entry on a risk entry, I would protect myself, giving myself enough room to breathe. Whereas price could trickle back up before it comes down. Right, it's definitely possible, and it happens quite a lot. So I had to protect myself in that light. By doing that, I was able to stay in the trade by a few pips, which is great. Just drilling down to the 15-minute, this definitely did correct a little bit longer than expected. The price pushed out, pushed back in, did it twice, and I was like, okay, cool. This could essentially be, just the opportunity. I don't want to miss out on this trade, so I'll get involved, but protect myself. And there was context behind it, but I guess looking back on it now, I guess the reduced risk would have been the better trade, but even so, here we are. So the trade started to continue and essentially got in the second trade over here. Um, yeah, fortunately, just by a few pips there. And then that one was running still in profit. Over here, we had the phase line entry on the 15-minute. Not so clear on the 1 hour because we trickled, but as we got to that value area, I saw, okay, we've broken it. Now I'm going to get permission to drill into the 15-minute. As I looked in the 15-minute, I could see how price was just squeezing to the high. I was waiting for a break, so I kept on evolving this trend line. And then, boom, we had an impulse, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll take that 16 pips. I got in. I guess that was slightly more aggressive, and it was a risk entry, so you know could be tagged in and out. Could take a 2% loss at that point, which was the point which I thought I'm not going to look at that trade. I'm just going to focus on this trade by itself and separate both trades for their own individual context. And yeah. I was in the trade, and then instantly it just pretty much pushed and ran 1%, and then I locked in break even. I just locked in break even because I already had that on the table. So I was like, okay, if this comes back up, then I'm probably going to be taken out of that anyway, and then this one's just going to be taken out as well. So it is what it is. So luckily, the trade did push out, continued, and then I think around about here, I was running about 3.5%. I was like, okay, six, so I'll lock in 2.5. And then this one, I think I locked in around about a percent and a little bit more, but let's just call it a percent. And then yeah, it just kind of trickled. And then I think at this point here, I was like, oh, maybe I should be a little bit more aggressive. So I did catch another trade here, over there. Sorry, completely missed that one just now. So I saw this as a flag, and I was like, okay, this could potentially be a good flag. Let's see if at this point I think my risk was over here, and so forth. Um, and then I thought, okay, if this pushes back down, then this could be potentially a two touch or can have that expanding field to it. So I will put this in here, and I feel like I'm more than enough protected for this, which is not really common. I think if we go there and we push all the way down here, we'll just continue. So I was happy to take this two touch to get tagged in, and then boom, it tagged me straight in, and that was the nice thing about it. So I got tagged straight in there, and the trade went. I left the 1% risk open until we basically broke below here and closed and continued. So at this point here, when we broke below here, that's when I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. And as we were coming into high spread hours, I was like, I'm not going to sit in here for too long. So I think with spreads, they were pretty high actually, but I think I was still in the trade until the early morning. And then I got taken out around about here for about a percent. So um, that was that trade. And then this trade over here was literally just above here, which definitely still has potential to be taken out for a 5.34% trade to be pulled back to around uh, about 4% now. It's a little bit of a headache because I'm thinking I should just manually close it, but I'm just going to stay strong with this. I think the safest place to leave my risk is here, around about 2.5, and then so forth. This one, I think as well, same situation. I think I'll just leave 1%, which kind of lines up with the 2.5. And that still leaves me with roughly around about 1, 3.5, 4.5%. So as that one trade ran all the way down here, I'm still protected for that. Unfortunately, this one's taken out for a 1% profit, but it is what it is. Still good trade. And that's basically Euro GBP. So I think Euro GBP still has a lot of potential, but as we've broken this low, this could be a sign that we could create, you know, well, this is the other thing I'm thinking about is left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And are we forming a right shoulder over here before we go down? That's the one thing I'm just sort of bothering me a little bit, but it is what it is. If we do start coming back up to this area, yeah, okay, I'll be tagged out for these two as well, but then I could probably look for a re-entry. I was thinking to compromise my risk and potentially protect myself, but then I'm just, leaving too much off the table. So I think at this point in time, patience is key. So yeah, essentially, that's basically what how I've taken and what I'm looking at on Euro GBP. Next one's Euro US dollar. Not too much to report. We're still waiting for our setup. So we have a 1, 2, 3, looking for the override, looking for the third touch, push to the override as well. And then if we do sell off, push up in the flag. That's all we're waiting for. No major change on this. So still as the forecast we have, no trade taken. Next trade is also the same as Euro USD. It's Aussie US dollar. No trade taken. Yeah, okay. There was some counter trend trades where we could take in some buys, but I'm also looking for that interest of a sell. A buy would have been good because potentially, if we did get a good entry, we could potentially take that. And if it does go further, at least we'll be in a good position. However, because of the structure, I'm looking for the short. So I'll just be hella patient with this right now. So next one is Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss is decent. Aussie Swiss is a little bit similar to Aussie US dollar in the sense that we're looking for a three touch. So I evolved this ever so much. It doesn't have to be the exact version. Obviously, we're still looking at that override zone. But how I'm seeing this is I'm not seeing this as a short at the moment, whereas prices push down. gapped, filled the gap, and then created continuation. I am looking for something a little bit more in depth. So I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3. I'm just looking for a price to get to this override. Yeah, we did have the expanding, and then looking inside the expanding, potentially we have this sort of messier sort of, ascending channel to the high. So I just want to see price impulse, push up, get to this touch over here, maybe a little bit further, push back in, break the mass psychology, and then we look for a flag. So push down on the flag is the gameplay for me on this particular pair. Just need to wait this one out. Aussie, New Zealand, similar as well. Just looking for a push up and a push down and a flag. So 1, 2, 3 doesn't meet with anything significant. Obviously, there's so many inflection points. It is what it is. So the real trade for me is to push down, push back up, and a flag. That could come later the week, could come beginning of next. But that impulsive run back down, I think that's going to be nice. So yeah, I'm looking for that opportunity. Right now, it looks like we've completed our middle section. It is still a little bit corrective, but this bit we've just broken out, and we could create continuation to go up. But I am looking for that 1, 2, 3 push down flag. Let's go. That's what I'm looking for. Obviously, it won't be that big, but that's the trade I'm looking for. Last one on my watch list is silver. So silver is nearing, it's almost there. I think it's just stalling a little bit, going to build some accumulation, push, and then when we get that strong push, we get that push down and a flag, we're in. So it's looking pretty strong, it's looking pretty good. It might just correct for a few more days and we may not get the trade this week, but even so, we are moving in a very good way. We're very close to this override section over here. So I'll just mark this in as the override over here. And then we have another override section there, but this is probably the most relevant override I'll look at for now. And then we'll see what happens. So we're kind of nearing this section here. If we push away from there, create a flag, as we've done on oil, that will be something of interest. So definitely got my eyes on silver. It's going to be hella patient. We're soon nearing to it. No real necessary need to go to lower time frames. Nothing on there of major interest at the moment. There was a trade in here, and then that's it really. So yeah, just going to be patient and wait now, and also trade there. So I have a few pairs on my wild cards, but I'm not going to go through these because they're not anywhere near ready. They're kind of well, yeah, it's nothing of major interest. There's enough here on the watch list. I'm going to go to crude oil though because this is one that I have taken a trade on, and I think it's definitely one that has started to commit. I didn't even see it commit this much since I started the recordings. But so essentially, just going to go through this now. So if we go to the weekly, as we did on the SMB, we essentially had this sort of corrective sort of push down where it's no surprise that we would pull back at some point to create something. It is a little bit messy in terms of a drawing here, but I'll just kind of zoom in a little bit and explain this. So we have an override section where we could pull down to before we reject. We have another override section where we can push down to and reject. This is our current trend line, 1, 2, and then 1, 2 here to lead for a 1, 2, 3. However, this gray one that I've grayed out, this is the one that I think that if we do kind of push down and we come in over here, we get something a little bit more parallel, which opens us up to the larger 1, 2, 3. So it comes down here, and then we push up to the high value zone. So that's basically that. So I'm definitely just keeping those on the table. We have the push down and the flag as we've done as the representation of what we were looking for over here. So if I drill down to the 1 hour now, what we had is we had our override, which we were looking at when we knew price could potentially push down from there. There was a trade in here for sure. It's just a trade I wasn't really willing to opt into because there was that potential for an ascending there. So I just didn't want to just take this trade. Um, but it was definitely not a bad trade. I opted in for this trade, so this was the push down and this was the flag I was looking for. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. I did set it a little bit premature, but it's because I was going to sleep and I was like, you know what, I'll take this trade. It's probably going to go during Asian session. I don't really want to end up staying up to ruin the next day, so I'm gonna just set my order, go to sleep, and then wake up. And then when I woke up, I think it was around about here. I had a look at it and I was running slightly in profit, and I was like, okay, cool, still going to leave it. And here we are now. So I think at this point here is where I'll be locking in break even. Um, and this trade definitely I'll be getting a little bit more aggressive because it'll get in here. So probably I'll probably lock in around about just a little bit more, probably just under 0.5%. Um, and then just monitor the trade as we go. So definitely this is not a bad trade. This could definitely form as a corrective squeeze because we're coming from an impulse. So this could be a correction into a push up. But because we're coming from this override section, this push down flag could be enough for us to, capitalize and go all the way down here. So this is potentially 15%, 10%, or even it could end up with a break 0.5% profit or yeah. So we just got to manage that and be on our game. But that's basically it for crude oil. So we had the 1, 2, 3 over here, and then we had the override, and then we had the future forecast. So I guess we're playing the future price at the moment, but all in all, it's been a very good trade, very very nice structure. So yeah. Just basically going to take it as it comes, and then if we do just impulse up, then at least then we have the higher probability trade I was looking for. So yeah, that's it for this week. Tomorrow is probably going to be really good. I think silver's going to come into play. I think a few pairs. I think silver, Aussie, New Zealand, all these Aussie pairs are great. I think Euro USD as well. Euro GBP, I think is probably going to be one with a larger flag. So yeah, I think it just needs a little bit of time to materialize. But it's looking really good. It's looking really good. So yeah, we'll catch up soon.